Grace and peace, everybody. It's your boy again, J.EDWARD. I'm grateful to be here today. I am here to tell somebody and encourage somebody that it's time for you to be obedient and do whatever it is God has called you to do. I just want to let you know that the blessing that is on your life is locked in to your obedience. Your obedience is what's going to release and cause that blessing to come upon you and overtake you. It is time, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, my dear friends, it's time for you to be obedient and do what it is God has called you to do. Real quick, it's just something that just jumped in my spirit about what God is calling me to do in this season. Go ahead, hit subscribe, hit share button. I want y'all to be in touch with me. If you want to get in touch with me, you just hit me up with at an email, JAYWAY1 digit 1 at gmail.com. JWay1 digit 1 at gmail.com. Hit me up and we can get together. We can talk about some other things. Want to hear some topics that you may want to talk about. But I want to tell you real quick about being obedient is that I have had an opportunity to do some things that I never thought I would be able to do. But I had to first take a step to walk into the obedience of what God has placed in my life. And sometimes God will send people into your life to cause you to be obedient and you didn't even know it. I want to definitely give God praise for a dear friend of mine, brother, elder, friend, manager, whatever, business owner, Desi, my brother Desi. And he's just been such an amazing dude, amazing man of God that God has placed in my spirit and in my life for such a time as this, that gave me the push that I need, that gave me the kick in the behind I need sometimes. Sometimes it's called good grief. God will send some people who you wouldn't even believe that can help you in some areas, but you have to first be obedient. I want to look at something real quick is because I know people would rather see a sermon than hear one any day. So many times we go to church and we hear sermons all the time, but people don't really care what you say. They want to care and see how you live and how you love. How do you treat people for real? And that's where I'm at now, is that the greatness of God that he has placed on me it's a new season, it's a new day. And I just want to look at Psalms, the 23rd Psalm. I know y'all know it. But I want to look at verse number 5. Is that it says, "You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, and my cup runneth over." I'm going to pause right there. We're going to deal with the whole thing coming up here in the near future. But that just kind of hit me different today. Is that it says, "You prepare a table for me in the presence of my enemy." Only way he prepared the table for me is because he was first in the beginning. The Lord is my shepherd, which means I follow him. I found out there's a big difference between a shepherd and a butcher. A shepherd goes into a thing first, and you follow the shepherd. A butcher is behind the sheep and run them into something that he's not going to go in. I can tell you a quick way to find out if your pastor is a butcher or a shepherd. Look at his shoes. Y'all say, what that mean? Look at his shoes. A butcher is behind the cattle or behind the sheep, which means they're always walking in mess. If you have a man or woman that's in your life that's always walking in mess, they're not leading you. They're running you into something. I'm going to let that sink in for a minute. But I'm going to move on. Is that he prepares a table for me. As hard as you work, as hard as we work, working day and night. We working hard every day, night, overtime, double time, holidays, weekends, all that type of stuff. To put food on a plate for your family. Your greatest work can only get you a plate of food. But God is saying, I will prepare a table. Your works will prepare a plate. But his works will prepare a whole buffet. Somebody ought to give God praise right where you are, because God is preparing a buffet for you. But I found out something that the next verse kind of ties into. It says he prepares a table for me in the presence of my enemies, not the absence of my enemies. In the presence. Stop trying to run your haters away. Just be obedient to God, because they may need to see what it looked like for a man or woman of God to sit down and let God prepare it for you in the presence of your enemies. Your enemies are an indicator that God is on the scene. I'm excited about what God is doing, y'all. Based on obedience, he has blown my mind in the past month with some opportunities and some things and ways he has prepared and doors he has opened and things that he has allowed me to see and things he has allowed me to be a part of that I never would have even imagined. But in the presence of your enemies, I found out by a story that was told to me years ago, and it never really hit me like this until I got a little older. It was a man that was in Iceland. No, he was in Greenland, sorry about that. And he wanted some fish. And he ordered some fish, a whole bunch of fish. He had a fish market. And they went fishing, and the guys, this was years ago before they had refrigeration and all that type of good stuff, that they went and they caught the fish that the man wanted, and they put them in the boat, in the ship. He had a tank in there that he kept them in because he wanted them fresh. He wanted them still alive when he got them there. So he put the fish in the tank, and they went halfway around the world to drop this fish off to the man. But based on the fish not being able to really swim around and move and have the freedom they needed, most of the fish was dead or lethargic. And they kind of contaminated the water. They kind of made the water kind of messed up. So the man said, I don't want the fish. I need some more fish. I need something else. I need some fresh fish. I want fish. This is what I ordered. I want fresh. So they went back and they tried it again. He said, okay, maybe we need to put a bigger tank in here to give fish more room. So they put a bigger tank down in the bottom of in the bowels of the ship, caught the fish, and same thing happened. Man said, I'm gonna try one more time. I said, this is not what I want. This is not what I want. So, ladies and gentlemen, what's shocking, to my shock, to my awe and my chagrin, they did it again, and it was an old man sitting on the bank. And he said, I know you out here catching these cod. He said, why don't you put some catfish in that ship, in the tank with those cod? The old fisherman said, cod and catfish don't get along. He said, trust me, just do what I'm telling you to do. Put the cod and catfish in the tank together, even though they're enemies. And when he did that, he took the fish to the man, and what he had ordered and what he had desired, the cod were alert, they were strong, they were still alive, they were vibrant. And he was perplexed because he didn't understand what had just happened. The key thing was that old man knew that he didn't put the catfish and cod in there because they were friends. He put something in there that the cod didn't like. So therefore, the cod couldn't get comfortable. So it had to stay alert, had to keep its eyes open, had to stay sharp. Have you ever stopped to think and wonder that maybe sometime God has some people in your life that frustrate you, that get on your ever-loving last nerve, so that you won't get comfortable in the situation that you're in, so that you can be alive and alert? Maybe the thing that frustrates you the most is what keeps you in prayer. Maybe that's the thorn that's in your side. Maybe instead of us complaining about our enemies or the things that's frustrating us, we should be giving God praise for it. He prepares a table for you in the presence of your enemies. Somebody ought to give God praise right where you are for the blessing that looks like a burden, but is preparing you for what God has for you. Somebody please love somebody, hug somebody, and please be obedient to what God is calling you to do. Let's do it. J.EDWARD1 at Gmail. J. Edward, love you.